Hello everybody and welcome back to another Spirit Hunters Infinite Horde run. Today we are going to do the opposite of the Conrad run. We are doing a Maxine run from slow to fast. Much like the Conrad run, we are doing the Grand Hex run. This will focus on Grand Hex as our primary weapon. We will get Bone Shot as our boss killer and make sure we max out its cooldown. Ideally nothing else will be maxed other than that. We will try and keep that low as well. And then we will be getting Orbital Fire and Mines for protection. So let's get this show on the road. We are going with the Grand Hex with Maxine. It starts with 5 ranks in its cooldown, so its cooldown starts off relatively well, and she has the increased movement speed, but the problem is this health reduction. It is going to make some elements exceptionally hard. For comparison to Conrad, we will be doing the same level of the hinterlands. Let's see how we can perform. Early on, I think this is going to do very well. The most difficult part that I'm currently... Wow, that was completely off the screen. The most difficult part that I am currently paranoid about will be the wave assaults. Once things start to really ramp up and the waves get very big and very surrounding, like they already are, kind of. But again, these are not too bad to manage. We will grab our fire for protection and our mines for protection right off the bat. That's going to be fantastic for us to have early on. Here, what choices do we have? Beacon is actually a nice safety to have in this situation, and I'm going to see how he performs, ideally in those later scenarios. And luckily, since we do not target with our Grand Hex ability, it's possible that he can draw some aggro to a Hex even if we're not on it. He may completely whiff and draw them completely away from where we want them to be, but we shall see. As you can see, he is beaconing, everything is moving towards him, so we have some good news there for our own survival. Survival is the name of the game right now. I am a little scared. I want these things to die. Give me some experience. Please, I need to get some levels in. Need to get this Grand Hex much bigger to survive. The fairies that come out later are very deadly. One other thing to note, especially when doing these runs, is to start understanding the AI of the mobs themselves. So, as right now, we have these spearmen and these chickens. Well, the chickens, they seem like their AI just goes randomly. They pick a destination, seem to move to that destination, and then move to you again. So they are trying to move to you, but if you move, they will continue to their destination before they move again, but they will constantly track you down. So they're not the most aggressive, but they're very easily able to surround you given enough time and opportunity. The spearmen, on the other hand, will just slowly march to you. As you can see, this chicken is still going off on his way. Same thing. These chickens are going to go off their way, and, well, actually they're going towards the beacon. These dragonflies, as well, they are targeted to you. They will always move to you, but they do have this pause. They move, pause, move, pause. So that is how you can sort of not manipulate the AI, but understand the AI to the point. Is that our cooldown maxed already? Look at that. Already a max cooldown. That's actually a fantastic thing to have. I couldn't ask for anything more right now. And these rats are the opposite of the chickens. Not the opposite, I guess, but they... Oh, I should have gone for the Grand Hex. I apologize there. I just instinctively chose the bone cooldown because I do want to get that show on the road. These rats will just constantly track you down. They're just going to slowly plink away, one step at a time, moving towards your location. So the rats, again, we are already starting to get a little surrounded. This is not the wave that I'm necessarily afraid of. It's when the fairies come out, because they are quick and they are numerous. Again, these rats, very numerous as well, as you can see. I mean, there's dozens of them, hundreds potentially, at least as the wave goes on. Maybe not on the screen at one time, but the Grand Hex is thankfully killing them, and we are increasing this AoE size with the max cooldown. Thankfully, we started with those 5 ranks. Now, starting with 5 ranks is very nice. It is a huge benefit, although you don't get the benefit of her long term like with other abilities. For instance, with the cleave, she just has 20% less cooldown. And while at the start that is less impactful, at the end of the run, the cleave, instead of hitting every 0.3 seconds, hits for 0.2 seconds. So for this weapon, this is essentially just a few free levels, which again, free levels are good levels, and they are in the most important talent point available. However, you are also missing out on the fact that there is no end game benefit. I apologize for hitting the mic there. There is no end game benefit. It is literally free levels at the end. So, is that a blessing? At the start of the run, yes. At the end of the run, realistically, it is not going to provide you any added bonus compared to other things. Luckily, we're keeping our bone shot cooldown go up. We can start to use this to actually kill some of these rams. It's actually starting to ramp up at around half a second a cast, and they will die to this, thankfully. That is our main way of killing things, and once we get through to the bone wall portion, that will be a prime killer. And we'll keep this AoE going. What is our AoE at? I should have checked. We're at 7 now, so this thing is already getting big, so I cannot complain about that at all. I can say neither here nor there if this is my first time attempting this, and Beacon is actually doing a very nice job. Thankfully, with the movement speed buff, Maxine is able to really get around, get that experience, and this is the deadly wave. These little fairies with the scythes, they are very fast, they have a good amount of health. We got Beacon, though. He is... I've never actually felt the need to use him. I just don't even know what to say. In a challenge run, though, being able to take these little fairies off of you, even if it's just for a few seconds, that lets you escape, that lets you move around. It works out fantastically. Like right now, he is beaconing, he is up there, and they are just going to move to their death. They are not coming to me, and that's a lot of health that I am saving. I may or may not have died to these little fairies. Maybe not this portion. It might have been the next time they show up. I don't know for sure. I will neither speak as if it happened or did not happen. But this is just fantastic. It's very smooth. Beacon is, I would say, one of Maxine's best survival pets here. So this will increase his time, or we can just get hardy. Let's just get more survival. I want to live. I want this to be completed. And maybe for a challenge run in the future, no survival pets. But this is not a no pet run. This is literally a, can this weapon do it if it is your main weapon? And I think we're going to get there. We have a critical strike rate of 50 or 20-something% at 5. And you can see the weapon is critting. So you can see some 78s from the weapon. We will see later on my Conrad run, I did say that I do not believe that this weapon was critting. On the Discord, it does appear that other people have had an issue that once a weapon's damage hits a certain value, that the weapon starts to stop critting or does not show the crits. So I am actually intrigued if that is the case. So we're going to keep an eye on that, see what happens, and we are still critting 490. As you can see, 90s pop up. Boom, 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 boom. That is lovely. If that is the case, though, and it does appear to stop critting at a certain point, based off of the weapon damage, then either the current method will be to stop upgrading damage around a certain value. So let's see. We are now should be 114. That is perfect. So we're still looking good. Still looking good. It is a huge radius. We do want some more bone shot cooldown, but we're handling these big waves rather nicely. With the range that the... Oh, and there goes Beacon. He's beaconing away. Lots of protection there. I am a big fan. So right now, we are up to 46 damage, and at 46 damage, it appears this weapon no longer crits. So here we go, we can see no more crits appearing, and yeah, that is a very interesting fact. So I will bring that up on the Discord for the developers so they are aware. I am sure they have some awareness of this, and they will have even more very soon. Do want to save a little bit of money for a shop, And let's see, we have a boss. This is a charging boss. So again, it is very important to understand the mechanical interactions of each enemy. Most of them will just walk to you, but again, like the chickens, they will walk to a location, and then they will move past. They don't necessarily follow you directly. As you can see, I'm under that chicken. He is not walking to me, even when beacon was not active. This boss in particular, he is a charging boss. He will charge, stay at his location, and then he will charge again at your location. So it's very easy to try and chase after the boss, but by chasing after the boss, that is what he wants. He wants you to chase after him, run in a straight line right at him, and by doing so, you are falling into his trap, because then he's just going to charge you right when you get close to him, like right when you get close. Not optimal, but a nice play that you can do for that boss in particular is actually move not the opposite direction, but plan out, keep him far enough away that after he charges his next charge, he will then be within range of you. So don't try and hit him in range. Let's go straight through the center. Let's see how this works. We're still surviving. Don't know how. Barely dodging everything. A little bit of a clencher moment, but this is actually going rather smooth right here. So the weapon is working out. Our bone shot is doing good for the larger enemies. Alright, let's use this final reroll. And we got a cooldown rate. Thankfully, bone shot can now really take care of the bigger enemies. These rams and these eyes. That was the key element. We don't necessarily have the damage to take out the larger enemies, especially without critical strike damage. So if this was still critting at approximately 50 some odd percent when it is full, it's doing 150 damage, triple this, so even more. And, you know, I would much rather be doing 160 some odd damage than just 58. So, hey. Oh, actually, it's 174. I apologize. It would have been 162 prior to that last damage level up. So, but hey, we got this very smooth. I will say beacon is a lifesaver in this instance. Things moving to beacon instead of me, I'm a fan. Again, 99% of the time, completely useless, as it won't matter whether things are moving to you or not. You'll actually want them to be moving to you instead of away from you, because I would rather kill things within range than not. But given a challenge, it's definitely a lifesaver. And here is second set of waves of the very fast fairy sprites. What's the least impactful? Dot speed? Yeah, dot speed's going to be the least impactful. Let's see where we are. We're at level 39. We have 2 more critical strike chances, which now we can say are useless. That being said, still going to get them to get this to 41, but this is now a useless talent, unfortunately. Bone Shot is at 9 cooldown. No other upgrades. I will still get that to 10. And then we have 1 dot speed and an AoE, a cooldown, and the dot damage on the mines. So, nothing too crazy, nothing too hard. We should be in a very prime state for this. We have very little money, so the shop isn't going to really help us, but look at Beacon to go. All of these mobs that would be surrounding me went up there, got shot by the Hex, and are just generating some glorious, glorious experience for us. Getting that cooldown, we now have the ultimate bone wall above and below us. Doesn't protect us in the front, but that's why we have a giant beam of death. We'll go with some AoE size on the mines. Again, just a little bit of protection, but nothing that is too crazy. My health is getting a little low. Let's see how fast this boss lasts. He's already dead. That boss lasted basically no time at all. And again, 0 upgrades to damage, 0 to crit, and 0 to its range. Now, there are meta progression, so it's not like this is a 1 damage bone. It is an 11 damage bone with 17 range instead of, I think the base is 10. So that there is benefit to the meta progression, but levels always outdo meta progression. You can easily get the damage to 11 with levels, whereas we didn't even need to. Probably should have chose AoE size there, just again, to make this as difficult as possible. But hey, the speed of the orbital fire is just a nice little benefit there. And look at that, our second to last crit chance. We're hanging in there. We're almost done. Beacon is beaconing. Really helps with this wave. And look at just a whole bunch of fairies getting destroyed by this hex. It's the magic power that Maxine always needed. What's a witch without her hexes, after all? So, let's see. Dot speed again. The only thing with dot speed is if it does get high, dot speed is one of those talents that is virtually useless until it hits near max. When it is near max, it is actually very, very powerful. So I'm not really too worried about increasing it. As long as I don't get it past level, say, 5 or 6, I will definitely be swapping to other things. We are already almost close to where Conrad was level-wise, and that is strictly due to the fact that Maxine can actually move around. Who knew that movement was very useful in this game? So Conrad's slow speed, he was just plodding along, and there's our last crit rate. We are solid there, and we have the dragonflies again. Again, these move, stop, move, stop. You can almost stop with them, so you know that, okay, now they're going to come to me here, and then I'll move. And then they're going to come to me here, and then I'll move. It almost does benefit, when trying to avoid them, to move as they do, so you can plan, okay, now they're charging here, now they're charging here. You can set up a mine defense, as I have a mine wall above and below me right here. It's just nice to see. We have a bit more money, so we are going to hit up this shop, see what we can get. Maybe we'll get another fun pet, get some more movement speed maybe. Maybe just buy some hearts. I'll take some hearts right now, actually. And some damage reduction, even. How many hearts do we need? 5 hearts, that'll be plenty. With that, let's get some magnet. We don't need more damage reduction. That's Conrad's thing. We don't need Chicone Red, even though this is the best map for it, I think, just because of all the chickens. You get to have the powerhouse chicken on top of all of them. Again, don't want to increase the bone any more than it already is, ideally. We will get a few more mines, more good, not going to actually impact the final boss. Won't really impact our actual survival for the most part, even though the mine is a survival. If you're sort of hunkering down, you can place down like 2 or 3 mines around where you're hunkered, and it's a huge protection. And again, sometimes you're like, well, I'm surrounded, how's that going to help me? Well, every minute or so, a wave changes, or a boss appears. If you can just survive that period of time, then you can get to a new wave, get to a new set of monsters. Like right now, it would be great, I'm starting to get surrounded, but we do have the power of the Grand Hex just blowing everything up, not critting anything, unfortunate, but it's still going. More dot damage on the mines. Very little use in this scenario, so that will be the level of choice. And I think we pretty much have this in the bag. We are approaching the 2.5 minute mark, or actually just passing the 2.5 minute mark. We don't want damage, we don't want damage, we don't want damage. I can't reroll, so let's just go with some speed. I'd rather have a tiny bit more speed than that 1 damage, just in case that it hits the boss. You never know. But a little protection from the tiny chickens and the rodents over here. Let's see, maybe we'll get a fun pet. Again, I wouldn't mind movement speed. I'll get a little bit more dot speed. Again, that's ticking every second for 3 damage. That is not a huge deal. Dot ticking every half second for 3 damage. That is a much bigger deal. And we got the one I was super looking forward to, was the AoE size. We want this hex to be large and in charge. We want to blow up as much of the screen as humanly possible. More dot damage. Let's go. And we're doing it. These exploding bugs are one of the most dangerous enemies in these waves as well. Not for the fact that they explode, but because when they explode, they knock the things around them. And that can cause you all the problems. Damage. We'll get a tiny bit more crit, I guess, because 3 damage is far more impactful on the bones than 3% critical strike chance. You're hitting so many times. Yes, the crit chance is nice, but having that more damage is far nicer, especially if you're already critting at around 25%. So let's see. We have a bit more experience. Actually, I shouldn't have taken that. I don't need to level anymore. I should actively be stopping my leveling. So let's get these chests. Avoid experience. Shouldn't have gotten magnet. Because now we're actually in a bit of bind where we're too powerful. We are too strong. We are as strong as we needed to be, and nothing can stop us. These enemies with the shields are quite tanky and tough, but nothing is tough enough for the unpowered, cooldowned bone. I love it. I'm assuming it's going to change, but hey, while it's here, use it while you got it. Get some more dot damage on that mine. All the way. Nothing else. Just anything that still walks by. Unpowered bones. Killing them like they're nothing. If these were fully powered bones, these enemies would die within a fraction of a second. They do survive significantly longer. But even still, they are purely the tankiest enemies in the map, and still getting taken care of. We are approaching the boss. I'm going to get to a nice open area. I don't want to have anything in my way, so we're just going to hang here, drop some mines in the center, because why not? Have that extra bit of protection, and here we go. Let's get above the boss here, and as you can see, unupgraded bones. Is he still alive? Yes. Is half of his health gone by the time this moved once? Yes. Done, 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 done. Pure, unupgraded bone. It's fantastic. This was quite the challenge. If I did not have Beacon, it would have been significantly harder. So this actually is a Beacon win as much as it is anything else. But as you can see, dot speed plus 3, speed plus 2, almost no real benefit gained here. A tiny bit of AoE, a tiny bit of cooldown, and mostly dot damage. Again, you're not using this for the dot in this case. The damage increases are far outweigh it. So here, again, very little here. And I did get one crit chance because I was given that or damage or damage or damage. So I guess it was not pure unupgraded. 3% increase gain. So this is, I would say, far more difficult than the Conrad run. Conrad was able just to tank through everything. He didn't care. He just marched on through. Maxine is definitely a little bit more wily, but Beacon is quite nice in these challenge runs. In most other runs, I probably would not take him, but again, if you are having difficulty, 2 seconds of mobs not being attracted to you can be all you need to get out, get safe, find a heart, maybe get Hardy. Hardy, again, favorite defensive pet in the game. And move on. So thank you very much for watching. Please check out any of my other videos. I have talent guides on every single weapon. And have a wonderful day.